So we've got yet another masterful episode of Star Wars Ahsoka behind us, and we're so close to the end now that I'm just sitting here kind of going, where can they possibly go? I mean, we know that Thrawn obviously is going to make it back to the main galaxy, but we still don't know what he's up to, which has become and I think that a lot of people suspect what he's up to here. What's very interesting about the suspicions is that it requires a pretty deep knowledge of like Star Wars lore and legend and canon over the years, and the average viewer probably isn't going to understand until it gets to that point. I don't want to spoil too much here before the fold. So here's the big thing. Spoiler alert beyond this point, because I am talking about the whole episode here as we move forward. And yeah, if you've never watched one of my reviews before, welcome to the channel. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. We do lots of different shows and films. We play a lot of games together. We do podcasts around Middle Earth and Dune. So check all those things out. Join the Discord. Links are down below. Check out the member videos at the top of the page if you were a member. And in the meantime, let's talk Star Wars Ahsoka, Episode 7. Which, oh my god. I got a lot of like Empire Strikes Back vibes from the dogfighting in this one, mostly because it's through a debris field, and the music is on point. But there's a lot going on here. So one of the big things is obviously everything is taking place on the planet with Sabine and Ezra, and of course these two. And the subplot is Hera's back in the New Republic, getting grilled in front of a Senate committee, and just when it looks like things are gonna go wrong and she's gonna get court-martialed, in comes C-3PO with a cameo from Daniels himself. And saying, "Hey, I've got, Senator Organa approved this mission, and as chief of the defense, you know, um, the Senate doesn't need to look into this anymore." And so Hera's essentially off the hook. So at the end of that, you've got the Senator Organa, who not Senator Organa, sorry, Mon Mothma. I don't know why I said Organa. You got Mon Mothma asking General Hera, how real do you think the threat of Thrawn is? And she's like, you need to prepare for the worst, hope for the best, but prepare nonetheless. So that's the subplot that's going on there. But everything here is essentially about what's happening on the planet. So Ahsoka does arrive with the narwhals. Is that what they're called? Narwhals? I don't remember what they're called now, but just the space whales. I don't know why I said narwhals. It's one of those kind of words. I need more coffee. Arrive at the whales and find out that the Imperial ships have set up a minefield at the exit point. And so the whales are starting to get, damaged pretty bad. And Ahsoka managed to fly out and, escape the minefield. Those whales jump out into hyperspace, and she's headed to the planet. Thrawn sends a fighter group after her. She disappears into this debris field, and that's the dogfight sequence, which is very well done. Then he directs the three mothers to use their force powers to find her in the debris field, which sends her flying off again down to the planet in pursuit of Sabine, who she has caught a sense of with the force. And there's this, very New Hope scene, episode 4 scene where Sabine, or not New Hope, sorry, Empire Strikes Back, which is why I keep coming to Empire Strikes Back with this one. There was a New Hope thing, but it's later. The Empire Strikes Back theme, though, here is that she's, I have a feeling, I can sense, so it's the back and forth that we got with, at the end of Empire Strikes Back, with the family circle here, and we're sort of getting that here, and Sabine's like, I have a feeling. And she's with Ezra, and everything's good. Ezra's asking her questions. She's avoiding all the questions. She really doesn't want to tell him that she came here with Thrawn. And Ahsoka's coming down to the planet because she figured out where Ahsoka is. And as this is going on, Thrawn gets confirmation. They send fighter groups after, to go track down. He also sends out these two as a hunting party to track down Ezra and Sabine in the midst of what's going on above. And what's really interesting here is that when these two get out and they sight Ezra and Sabine and the little turtle creatures, he bails. But it's not in a bad way. He literally tells her, and this is like such a pivotal moment I think between these two characters, which is why I'm using this as the thumbnail for the image, because this is really powerful storytelling and also sets him up to be somebody way more nefarious than the average viewer might have thought at the beginning of the show. Now, those of you who have deep knowledge of things and what he's potentially after in order to alter time and everything else understand that's something but that's also a theory which may play out in the long run. But he literally tells her, I'm giving you this. Go get Ezra, get Sabine. This is your victory. Claim it and take your place in the new empire. And she's like, you're not coming with me. And he's like, no. Your ambitions drive you towards that. I'm not ambitious like you. I have this other, he is, but in a different way. I have this other thing that's drawing me. So I'm going to go do that. Here's this for you. There's also this moment when there's another confrontation between him and Ahsoka, where he's standing in the path to her getting to Sabine, and this girl, and Ezra. And in the fight, it becomes very evident that he's way more powerful again than Ahsoka, and he knows it, and he's like, "You're never going to defeat me. I hope you know that. I'm too strong." And she's like, "Maybe so." And then, distraction, explosions, and she disappears, and he's left sort of grimly nodding to himself and then looking off into the distance and walking away. Like he kind of I think he recognizes that, you know, Ahsoka is gonna go take care of this girl, and he just kind of goes, okay. Excuse me for that, guys. My sinuses this morning. Um, One of the funniest parts of this episode, though, is as all of this is sort of culminating towards the end of the episode. Um, you've got Ahsoka and the droid flying down. I always forget his name, but David Tennant's character, flying down over the battlefield, and Ahsoka jumps out and goes to save the day, right? And then we get this scene of the droid driving the ship around with all these fighters behind him distracting, and he looks down out the window and you see the pod of turtle people gathered in a circle with Sabine and Ahsoka and Ezra and everybody in the middle, and he's like casually just goes, "Oh, it's so good to see them all together again, just like old times." And then he looks toward and he goes, "I hope I live long enough to." He's like, "I hope I have lived long enough to enjoy it or to whatever." But it was just so funny because it was just in the middle of all this action, and he drops this whole. It's so good to see them together. I hope I survive long enough to enjoy it. um, Ultimately, quick commercial break, everyone, to give a shout out to our first official guild officer, Bubalonia, as well as all of the guild champions, and of course, all of the members who help keep me on the air full time. To join as a member, simply click that join button below and pick your tier, but you can also support with Super Chats on any live stream or premiere, or Super Thanks on any upload or YouTube short. Don't forget the Discord. Let's get back to the video. The determination here is Ahsoka is reunited. They have a confrontation with her, and in the middle of all of this, the troops disappear because Admiral Thrawn has called them back because the bodies they're loading into the Star Destroyer are essentially almost completely loaded, and they're going to bail and head back to the universe, to the main galaxy, I should say. And Thrawn basically is like, just leave them. We're leaving. The Ahsoka has lost the most valuable asset she had, which was time. I am now 20 steps ahead of her. We're taking these. We're bailing. No one's gonna know we're coming. It's time to move, and they'll get abandoned here on this planet. So as the stormtroopers are falling back, and she's left alone to face Ezra, Sabine, and Ahsoka, they obviously offer to let her surrender, and she chooses to run instead. And I don't know if she's going to go try to find him again or not, and what that reunion is going to look at, because she's going to essentially have failed. And he even told her before they left that impatience is the downfall of, it guarantees failure if you're going to try to be impatient. And she's just been impatient the whole time. The one interesting thing here to me, and I can't say if I like it or not, it's not my place to judge. I'm not the owner of the characters. But it's weird seeing Ezra as sort of like the monk Force user at the moment. Like he didn't want to take um, and his reasonings for not wanting to take Sabine's lightsaber, which was his lightsaber in the beginning, was I gave it to you. That's your lightsaber now. I can't use it. But don't worry, the Force is my ally. And he goes to have and he has this fight, and he's not like martial arts monk, but at the same time, he's definitely it's all fists and feet and Force. Um, which is interesting. And I don't know if that's the way Ezra has evolved, or is he going to be going back to using a lightsaber? We don't know any of that yet. But we do know that obviously Thrawn's going to make it back to the main galaxy. That's the threat of the upcoming, I would assume, the upcoming film that Filoni's working on, which is going to bring together the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, the Rangers, all of these elements together. But just a solid episode once again. We also got more Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. Um, at least through holovids with Ahsoka, which is really cool. I think that the Anthony Daniels cameo is just really cool to see him because he is an elderly gentleman now. They all are, and him coming back and doing that is really cool to see. That having been a mainstay of his career. That was probably one of the coolest things I remember from going to the Star Wars Festival in Denver, the first one, was getting to meet Anthony Daniels in person, along with Warwick Davis. I met Terry Brooks there too. I had all my books signed because he did the novelization of The Phantom Menace. But it's been cool to see, you know, people be able to enjoy these movies over multiple generations now, and this franchise over multiple generations, which is why I'm always a Star Wars fan for life. Like I will be a Star Wars fan until they put me in the grave. Like I have grown up with this franchise. I am happy to see it evolve. I'm happy to go where it goes. I'm just along for the ride, man. And I appreciate everything they've done to get us this point, and I'm really loving the storytelling here. I cannot wait to see what exactly Baylon's after. So that hopefully will be next week. So stay tuned, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. We'll see you next time. Happy viewing, everybody. May the force be with you.